All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wednesday, y'all. So, we are going to take a break from our writing workshop stuff. If you have not completed that assignment yet, you need to get that one done as well. Your attendance depends on it. But today, we are going to talk about detailed sentences and what detailed sentences are when it comes to a paragraph. We have already done notes over topic sentences and how what a topic sentence's main job is to tell the reader exactly what that one paragraph is going to be about. And so now we get to the kind of meat of the paragraph, which is your detailed sentences. So what I would do is I would pause the video, take the notes, and then come back to the video. So pause it now. And welcome back. So, detailed sentences. Their job is basically to discuss the details of a paragraph. When it comes to a paragraph, and this kind of depends on what style of writing you're doing, this could be a number of things. If you're doing an argument, which you'll see here shortly, you will see that in an argument, you can give me some stats, you can give me some different arguments within it, different reasoning in it, and then that includes stats. That includes people telling me what to do. It's your own personal experience, yada yada yada. If you're describing something in an explanatory, there you might go from one object to the next. You might go in a up and down kind of way. If you're describing a tree, you might start at the top and go to the bottom, or start at the bottom, go to the top. If you're describing how something works or how something started, you might start at the beginning and go through each of the main details. And so that's what the detailed sentences do. They discuss those details in the paragraph, and they can show relationship between the detail and the rest of the paragraph. So they can help transition from one thing to the next. They can always tie back up to your topic sentence to show that you're right. A lot of those kind of things. And I'll show you what I mean by that here as we keep going. Now, as far as detailed sentences, each detailed sentence can have a variety of sentences, and there can be a variety of details within it. Okay? So let's say our topic sentence is dealing with there are two reasons why North Tama is better than GR. Okay? Let's just say that. This one would be one of those two reasons, and as you can see, there are lead-off sentences and follow-up sentences. We'll go through those here. And then here is detailed two. There's another lead-off sentence, and then there is some more follow-up sentences. Notice how this follow-up sentence is, there's three here, and there's only two on this one. That's okay. They don't have to be completely equal. And so, but kind of make sure that the follow sentences go in an order that makes sense. Make sure that this one to this one makes sense. This lead off to this lead off makes sense. If you're describing a tree, you don't start at the bottom, go to the top, and then go to the middle. You would work your way up. If you're describing how, a person lived, you would start with when they're born and go until current or they're dead. You wouldn't go, oh, they were born here, and then in school they did this, and then they died, but then back in college they did this. You wouldn't go in that order. You would make it work. You would make it make sense in an order that is key to your own writing. If you're talking about rabbit food again, you might go from the most important one or the most used one to some least common ones because you want to get your most important information out there first. Okay? So we're going to talk about these lead-off sentences and these follow-up sentences here, okay? And so there are two types. There's lead-off and there's follow-up, like I've already said. And we're going to go through what each one does here, okay? So a lead-off sentence, it introduces a new detail to the paragraph. So if we're going to say that there are two reasons why North Tama is better than GR, each one of those lead-off sentences, it's going to introduce a new reason why. Okay? If you are describing the different parts of a tree, one might be the roots, and one might be the bark, and one might be the top. If you're describing, the different jobs of an imposter in Among Us, one might be to kill, and one might be to sabotage, and one might be to vent. I don't think it's really a job, and you put them in an order that makes sense. Now, lead-off sentences do contain a transition word. So these are words like another, or the first, the second, the third. Those are transition sentences. So I'm going to say that there are two reasons that GR is better, or Notre Dame is better than GR. The first reason is blah, 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 blah. First is a transitional sentence there. Another reason is blah, 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 blah. That's another transition sentence, or transition word for that sentence. And then the follow-up sentences provide more information about that. They help prove that. If I'm going to say that the one reason North Tama is better than GR is the athletics, I better give you some examples of how the athletics are better at North Tama than they are at GR, or whatever it might be. If I'm explaining what it means to kill someone in Among Us, I better, that's one of the jobs. I better explain how a person does that job. If I'm explaining that bunnies can get different diseases, I better give you some of the symptoms. That way you could see, like, oh, my rabbit has that disease too. Kind of a deal. Okay? I apparently use that phrase kind of a deal a lot. Anyway, so let's start up here in the tip top here with, there are many subjects in school a student can like. First of all, what kind of topic sentence is that? Is that a cluing, general, or specific? I'll wait. If you said cluing, you are right. And the reason it's cluing is of the word many. There are many subjects in school a student can like. So that is my topic sentence. So I know I'm going to talk about many, so probably more than two, maybe three. I could have been more specific there, but many works just as well. So the lead-off sentence here. One topic a student can like is English. So one is my transition word. One topic a student can like is English. So now I'm going to be talking about English. So I might want to describe what it is. English classes deal with reading, writing, and public speaking. If a student likes to read books, this may be his or her favorite class. So I gave you a description, and I gave you you might like it if you like this idea. Those are follow-up sentences to the lead-off. However is a transitional word. I know that I'm moving from English to something else. However, if a student likes numbers instead of words, then math could be their favorite subject. If you notice there, the word, however, is a transition, and I'm going now from English to math. And then my follow-up sentence here, in math classes, a student could take anything from basic algebra to advanced trigonometry. So I'm giving you some examples of some classes that are in math. That way you could say, oh yeah, I like math classes too, blah, blah, blah. I also, I said the word many, so you could keep going there with science, and you could go with social studies, or PE, or lunch, or recess, whatever else you want to add to that. I only did two just to kind of show you. So sometimes each paragraph might only have one idea, and sometimes a detail might only have one lead-off sentence. So you might just write a paragraph with just one reason in it, and then all of your follow-up sentences are trying to prove that. So you might have a lot of follow-up sentences for one lead-off sentence, or you might try to cover a whole bunch of stuff in that paragraph and have a bunch of different lead-off sentences, and then only have one or two follow-up sentences. It just kind of depends on what you're writing and how you're writing it. Okay. However, no matter what you do, each paragraph will indeed need a concluding sentence. And so the concluding sentences are the last sentence in the paragraph. It closes a paragraph if you're only writing one paragraph. If you are writing one paragraph within an essay, what it will do is it'll transition from one paragraph to the next, okay? Unless it's the last body paragraph in that essay. So, what a concluding sentence does is it names the main idea of the paragraph. And sometimes it will summarize or name the details of that paragraph, and it has to be different from the topic sentence, okay? So, we talked about how they summarize what you, let me go back. So, we talked about how in a topic sentence there's general, including specific. That's going to be very similar here, as I will show you, okay? If you are doing a transitional concluding sentence, so if you are going from one paragraph to the next in an essay, it needs to do two things. One, they need to summarize what you said in that paragraph, and two, they need to introduce the next topic. So if I'm writing a whole essay about why North Tama is better than GR, and in that one paragraph, I just talk about athletics, and then I give examples from basketball and baseball and stuff like that, then I could transition and go, not only is North Tama better at athletics, but they're also better in academics. I summarized that I talked about athletics, and then I talked about academics in the next topic. So I'm transitioning from one paragraph to the next, okay? So there are three types of concluding sentences. These are very, very, very similar, they're identical actually, to topic sentences, okay? So there's the general ones. They summarize the main idea, and they make the reader think more about the topic. So if we're going back to this type of sentence of there are many subjects in school a student could like, that one it's cluing. So this one, I say overall, that's a concluding transitional word. Overall, there is a class for every student to call his or her favorite. And so I did not say there is 3 classes. I didn't say the names of the classes, so this one's a general one, okay? There is cluing. It names the idea and ties the details together with a cluing word. So, overall, these 4 classes could be a favorite class for any student. I notice how I used the word for. That tells me that it's a cluing sentence, and so you can use that as well. And then the specific ones, it actually names the main idea and the actual details that are usually in those lead-out sentences. Overall, there are many classes that could be a favorite for students, including English, math, science, or history. Now, in theory, your topic sentences and your concluding sentences should not be the same type. So, for example, in that paragraph up here, I used a cluing one. So, in my conclusion, I should use either a general or a specific one. And so when you're writing your paragraphs, be thinking about, okay, I used a very specific topic sentence up here. So down below, I need to make it more general or make it more cluing. Just simply because of the fact that if it sounds too similar, that's really boring and it's repetition, and you don't want that. You want your sentences to be a little more lively, a little more varied, and there's a lot of variation there, so that way you can keep your reader entertained and keep your reader engaged in your reading or in your writing, okay? And so there are concluding transition words to let the reader know that you are concluding. However, you do not need to use them, and as we go, as you get to become a better writer, you need to use those less and less. They're good now, but as you get into high school, as you get into later in high school, you might want to stick away from those, especially ones like in conclusion. You don't need that because if it's the last paragraph, we know it's the conclusion. So don't do things like that, okay? So hopefully you have taken notes over this video. Now, your assignment for tomorrow. I'm going to have this paragraph here that I wrote that deals with Burger King versus McDonald's. And I'm going to tell you why Burger King is better than McDonald's. And so, read the paragraph, and then there's going to be 3 questions down here, okay? One is topic sentence, one is concluding sentence, and one is the lead off sentences, okay? So, all you got to do is read this, answer the questions, call it good, okay? Turn it in. If you have any questions, let me know.